Hi, I'm Chris Avadil. Today we will be doing our initial test of the board game version of GGO. We can start by listening to some of the rules of the game we've written so far. So it says update players allowed, so that can be 1 to 8 players. So I'm going to be able to play solo today since I couldn't find somebody to play test with me. But welcome to GGO. This is a first-person open world continuous shooter game. The game never ends, so after the play is done for a session, each player will keep their character card to be used in later games. The goal is to fight your way to the top of the Battle Royale to become legend. So the start of play says each player that does not already have a character will be given a blank character card. So I've got one of those here. And a character game piece. So I could just pick any color because nobody else is playing right now. Be given another character game piece. They input their username on the card. We can set that up in a second. They roll the 12-sided dice. The total on the dice will be the initial stats that they can distribute to their character. They also have the option to wait and store their skill points in the skill points section of their character card if they don't want to distribute them right away. Once all players have a character and game piece, play will commence clockwise. On a player's turn, they either spawn to the location they were at previously when they play the game, or if they're a new player, they will spawn at the town respawn zone. There are different zones. There are 3 zones at GGO. The blue zone is the town. The green zone is the PvE area. And the tan zone is the PvP area. There are also separate PvP areas, P1, P2, P3, and P4, which relate to different classes and difficulties of monsters you'll face. The blue zone is the town. It contains a shop, gun range, storage facility, and battle arena. There is no weapon use allowed in the town except in the battle arena during sanctioned events. There are no monsters in the blue zone. Whenever a player returns to the blue zone, they refill to max health. The green zone is the PvE area. It has low-level monsters that drop low-level gear. There's no player-on-player combat in this area. The tan zone is the PvP area. It's divided into 4 zones. P1 to P4 subzones have increasingly difficult monsters and better gear. This area always allows player versus player combat. Respawn areas. Each zone has a red respawn area. At the beginning of play, each player will spawn at the town's respawn area if they're a new player. If a player dies, they will return to the respawn area corresponding to the zone they died in on their next turn. Player actions. On a player's turn, they have 4 choices of action they can take. They can move, interact, or cycle their inventory. Move. A player can move non-diagonally to any adjoining square that is not blocked by a city wall, which is the black lines around the city. The distance a player can move each turn is based on their agility stat. For each point the player is invested into agility, they can move a single square. If a player has an agility score of 0, it takes them 2 turns to move a single square distance. During this transition, they will not be able to perform additional actions. Another thing a player can do is interact. When a player lands on a space that isn't blue or red, on their next turn, they have their opportunity to interact. Town interactions. The town has 4 interaction points: the shop, the range, storage, and the Battle Royale area. The shop. When a player chooses to interact with the shop, they can view the shopkeeper's inventory, and if they have enough credits, they can purchase new weapons or gear. Gun range. This is the range. When a player chooses to interact with the gun range, they roll the 12-sided dice. If the dice lands on 7, they add 1 stat point to their intelligence. Storage. When a player interacts with the storage, they can store one of their items each turn. Battle Royale. When a player interacts with the Battle Royale area, they send out an offering of 1-on-1 PvP battle to all players. If someone accepts, the first person to announce their acceptance immediately teleports to the arena. The next round, they battle. PvE and PvP zone interactions. Any turn a player chooses to interact with a square in PvP or PvE zone, they roll the dice. If the number on the dice is above 6 or above, a monster spawns into the square. The next round, they will have the option to attack the monster. In the PvP zone, players also have the option to interact with dropped loot bags. If they do so with their own dropped loot bag, they collect all of the items in one turn. If a player is looting someone else's dropped loot bag, they can only collect one item from the bag each turn. Attacking. Each turn, if a player is engaged with a monster or in range of another player in the PvP zone, they can attack. If the player attacks a monster, they roll the 12-sided dice. If they roll 8 or above, they hit the monster. For each point of intelligence the player has, the lower the player needs to roll the dice for a hit. For example, if a player has an intelligence of 8 or above, they don't need to roll, and they hit their target every time. If the player attacks another player, the same calculation is done, but if the opponent has a dexterity of 8 or above, then a coin is flipped, and the player attacking will miss half of the time, even if the dice rolled a 12 and they have maximum intelligence. Cycling inventory. Each turn, if a player chooses to cycle their inventory, they can swap out one weapon or piece of gear from their bag to their equipped items. The Battle Royale. Every 20 turns at the end of the last player's turn for the round, a Battle Royale begins. Players will be randomly chosen to fight one another. Each player that wins will advance to fight the next competitor. When the tournament ends and there is a victor, a Battle Royale victor card is drawn and given to the winner. Dying or losing has no negative effects on characters in the arena. After the battle is done, the next round, all players will be back in the squares they had been before the battle began. During a Battle Royale battle, each player will attack in turn. The player with higher agility goes first. They go back and forth until one of them has no health left. At the beginning of each battle in the Battle Royale, a player's health will be returned to maximum. Monster battles. If there's an ongoing monster battle and it is in the PvE zone, once a monster is engaged by a player, no other players can interrupt the battle, unless the player that started the battle chooses to disengage, in which case the monster will stay for any other player to attack for 2 turns. The same behavior occurs in the PvP zone, but whoever gets the last attack on the monster will win the loot. Loot drops. When a player defeats a monster, they get a loot drop card, corresponding to the zone they defeated the monster in. If their inventory is full, the item drops to the ground in the square they fought the monster, and will stay there for 2 turns for them to pick up, or for other players. If this occurs in a PvE zone, the only player that can pick up the dropped loot is the player that defeated the monster. Experience points and leveling. To get more stat points for their character, a player needs to level up. For each new level they obtain, they get a stat point they can use. It takes 1,000 experience points to go from level 1 to 2. For each level, that number doubles. So for level 3, the player needs 2,000, or level 4, they need 4,000, and so on. Getting XP. To get XP, players can defeat monsters or kill other players. The XP gained from killing a monster is on its specific card. For killing another player, you get 1,000 experience points. Stats. The maximum points for each stat is 10. Strength. For each point of strength a player has, they gain an additional space in their inventory. This stat also affects what kinds of weapons players have access to using, or equipment. Agility. This determines who goes first in a Battle Royale fight. It also determines how far a player can travel on a given turn. A player with max agility can perform 2 actions on each turn. For example, they can move and interact in the same turn, or attack twice. Vitality. For each point a player puts into Vitality, they add 100 to their HP. A player with max Vitality doubles their current maximum HP. Dexterity. Helps to prevent players from getting hit by other players or monsters. Intelligence. Every player's weapon accuracy is what is affected by this. If the player has maximum intelligence, they double the range of whatever weapon they have equipped. Credits. Credits being used to purchase items from the shop. Each player starts with 1,000 credits. Dying. If a player dies in the PvE zone, they respawn without losing any of their gear and come back with full health. If a player dies in the PvP zone, they drop all their inventory that isn't equipped. These items stay in the square they died in until another player or they come to retrieve them. The player who died respawns with half of their max XP. So those are the rules. Now we had certain things we wanted to actually look into today. So we're going to be looking at a few things. So I wrote it down and set it somewhere. Oh, right here, of course. So we're going to be testing the character creation. That's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to look at how movement is working, the character movement and things like that. And then we're going to look at stat allocation, like rolling the dice and kind of allocating our initial stats. And then we're also going to be looking at the shop interaction, the storage interaction, and get into a little, maybe a couple PvP battles, or PvE battles to see how that goes. Okay, so starting with character creation, we do have a card around here that has kind of a model for the character. It tells us how to set everything up. And I hopefully have a pencil around here. There we go. So we start with our character name. And I'm going to go with Zekin. And then HP, health points, it looks like everybody starts with 100 of 100. And my armor's at 0 of 0. So when we get some gear that has armor, we can add to our armor. And then my strength is at a 0. My agility is at a 0. My vitality is at a 0. My dexterity is at a 0. And my intelligence is at a 0. And it looks like I start with 1,000 credits. And 5 inventory slots. And I have 0 of 5 filled. And my stat points currently are 0. I have no stat points that I can spend until I roll the dice. And I am a level 1. And my experience points are 0 out of 1,000. My equipped items I have, for my armor set, I have none. For my weapon, I start with nothing. And for special item, I have none as well. Okay, so that is the character creation process. Okay. So we've got our character now, and that looks good. We just need to go ahead and do the next step, which is roll the dice to see how many stat points we get to spend right off the bat. And that would be useful if I had the dice ready. Oh, there it is. Okay, bummer, I only got a 4. 12-sided dice, and I only got a 4. Okay, so I do want to be able to move a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 of my points into agility. And I don't want to die right away. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points into my vitality. So that's going to bring my max health up to 300 and my current health to 300 because I haven't taken any damage yet. Probably need to put that in the rules. That's not explicitly stated. So that's a good thing to remember. Okay, and then so now that we've got that, we've got the start to play. Once all the players have a game piece, we need to go ahead and just put this guy right there, and I'm on the area. And I can just start with player actions. So first I want to move, and again, just making sure that we're sticking to the goals of the playtest here. Go ahead and pull that up again. So we've got the character creation done. We did that test. We allocated stats. That seemed to work fine as well. But with the one qualifier that we need to put in there about the health, when players allocate points to it and they're at full health still. So we can go ahead and test movement, but also test one of the interactions as well. So since I have 2 agility points, I can move 2 squares each turn. So I'll go 1, 2. And then in a multiplayer game, this would be the time when the next person takes their turn. But in this situation, we are not doing it that way. So then we go ahead and next turn is my turn again. I want to interact. So I've got the shop inventory cards here. And there is a ring of movement, 1,000 credits, I don't really need that. Bunch of expensive stuff I can't afford yet. Some light armor for 600. That might be useful. Not right now though. Potions. A necklace of protection, 10,000. 10,000 for that one. Double barrel shotgun, 9mm. I might hold on to that one for a second. M4, maybe hold on to that one. MP5, can't afford that yet. Revolver, it's only 300. Okay, a bolt action rifle. Okay. So I think I'm going to go with the bolt-action rifle. It has a range of 3, a rate of fire of 1. The special for it, though, is actually negative, so it cannot be fired sequentially. A player must take a turn to reload before the weapon can be used again. The cost is 800 and the damage is 9, so I'm going to go ahead and go with that. So I take 200 off my credits because I just purchased this. And before I equip it, since we're going to go ahead and test the storage area as well, I could just wait a second. So we say it's someone else goes, and then it's my turn again. And then I get to move 2 still because I only have 2 for the agility. 1, 2. Then someone else's turn, and I choose to go one square because I can. And then someone else goes, and that's my turn again, and I interact with storage. And I can choose to put this in there, so I go ahead and use this turn to interact and put it in there. And now it's stored there, and I will need to make some sort of container or something like that for each player for their storage, and then like their backpacks. So that's something good to consider and look at. Certainly something I learned from this test. And then once we do that, we go let everybody play, take our turn again, pull the weapon back out, and then it's everybody else's turn. And then I'm going to go ahead and cycle my inventory. So I go ahead and equip this weapon to my inventory and my weapon slot and write bolt action there. Okay. And then if I was interacting with my backpack, I would be able to take that item out of the backpack slot. So that is something we'll need some sort of way for storage in town, and then storage locally when the player's moving. Okay, so we've got that test all done. That is the storage interaction, and we've got the shop interaction. Movement seems fine. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of PvE testing. Okay, so it's my turn again, and I can't go directly through this wall, so I need to go 1 and then 2. And then it's someone else's turn, and then it becomes my turn, and I choose to interact. And when I interact with the PvE area, I roll the dice, and if it's a 6 or above, a monster will spawn in the square. Oh, it's a 12. Okay, so we have these PvE monsters, and I'll just shuffle it up, make sure I didn't stack the deck or anything like that. Okay, and let's see what we get. Alright, we got a Dark Wolf with 100 HP. It has a rate of fire of 2. It has a damage rating of 5. And it has, for the drop, it drops type 1 loot. Now, one thing I forgot to put on here is how much XP this gives for killing it. So, being that it's a low level 1 and we need to get to 1,000, let's say this one is worth 250. I think I did put the XP on some of the other ones, just not this one. Okay, so we've got experience points for this character if we defeat him. So everybody else goes, because I just got that monster to interact. And then it's my turn again, and I choose to attack. So we go back to the rules and check the attack action. Okay, so we roll 12-sided dice. If it's an 8 or better, I hit them. For each point of intelligence, that doesn't actually help me. So I just have to roll the dice and hope I get them. Ooh, 12. Okay, so I did 9 damage, because the bolt action does 9 damage. It only has 1 rate of fire. So go ahead and take him down to, he's at 100, so we're going to take him down to 88. Okay, and then it's the monster's turn, and he has the same thing. If he rolls above an 8, he gets to hit me, but he has 2 rate of fire, so he gets to go twice. Okay, so he hit me once, so that takes off, he only does 5 damage. So that takes me down to 295. And he gets to go again. And a 12 again. Okay, so that takes me down to 290. Alright, so it's my turn to attack again. 8, that's another hit, so that takes him down to 76. And it's his turn. A 5. So, okay, that's a miss there, because he got a 5. And a 9, so he takes me down another 5. I am sitting at 285. Okay, my turn. Ooh, a 4, so I just completely missed that time. Good to get your intelligence up. He got a 2 his first roll. 3 his second, so we all missed that little go-round. Okay, so it's my turn again. A 9. Okay, so I take him down another 12. So that brings him to 64. His first roll, he gets a 12, so he gets a hit. I'm down to 285 then, or no, 280 at this point. Yeah, definitely glad I invested a few points in health and vitality, so that is working. And his second one, he gets a hit as well. He rolled a 10. So that is 275 for me, and he is down to 64. Okay, I got an 8, so that takes him down again to 52. He rolls an 8. Okay, so that brings me down to 270. And again, these are things that would be happening while other people are doing stuff as well. And he got a 7. Okay, so I wasn't hit that time. Take one more round of fighting here. Oh, got a 9, so brought him down to 40. He rolled a 4 on his first go. Oh, and a 10. So that takes me down to 265. Alright, so I definitely learned a few things during this test, and it'll be good to get some feedback from all you guys, but obviously it'll be better when I get some people to play my game with me as well. Thanks for taking the time to review. Have a good rest of your day.